Hello, children. Let's review the performance statistics that we have so far of Nugo. 4 super matches, he's not very active yet. King of the Table 12, Rob Vidgett Jr. This was the earliest match of his I could find. The problem is, see that asterisk? Full super match is not available. So I had to analyze that match based on the highlight reel, which is some kind of amateur stuff. I don't know why the full match isn't out. I posted a request asking for people to help me out, and they called it the disaster event. I don't know, but anyways, so not only is the sample size small, it's a little corrupted by the fact that I don't have every rounded match from that particular super match. He beat Matt Mask, lost to Petro, and beat this fella. Anyways, uh, from the great country of Georgia, man. A lot of good arm wrestlers come from there. Straightening the curves and flattening the hills, and someday the mountain might get him. The law never will. All right, top roller. Top rolls almost all the time. He'll start in either a top roll or a hook, but he'll start in either, but he'll transition from a top roll to a hook. I've never seen him transition from a hook to a top roll. I might have to rethink my whole theory on height and weight classes because he's a very proficient top roller, being even though he's one of the shorter folks in the 105 weight class. All right. His rounds he wins 12-4. His wins 11 pins. He didn't win any on fouls. His losses, this is pretty impressive. He's a pretty disciplined, controlled guy. He only fouled out of 1 round. That's pretty good. Near all matches, near side, he actually does better on the buckle side of the table. Sample size is way too small. These could basically be the same. They're like a match or two apart. When he's in the straps, he does about as good with the buckle or without the buckle. Without the straps, it's kind of hard to say. 4-2, I guess. Without the straps, he might not have an issue with the buckle side. It's really hard. These numbers it's just way too small to make any conclusions. But what we can say on his ready goes, he's winning ready go way more than he loses or he ties. That shows he's speedy and his timing, his reaction timing's down very good, and that I think leads to this awesome flash pin record. 8 flash pins, 0 people pinned him. So he's fast and he's powerful against the competitors he's had so far. He's going to be getting stiffer competition here pretty soon. All right, he's averaging 2.1 matches per round. That's a little lower than what I have been seeing. Although he did have it was one of the matches with Matt Mask. One of the rounds with Matt Mask went like 6 matches. That was his longest one. Other than that, it's usually 1 or 2. But just that 1 round out of that 1 super match pushed his average up from 2. Free grip, referee's grip. He doesn't get a lot of straps. He does. I guess 6 free grips. He's fairly accommodating, but not too bad. Doesn't slip. Like I said, he's got 9 strap matches, and he's got 24 non-strap matches. So the fellow's pretty proficient without the strap. That's 18 strap matches. I think the league overall is probably headed to just start with the referee's grip. That'll save us a couple of matches each round. It might speed things up a little bit. There might be a viewer enjoyment opportunity there. Okay, not much else. Before we go, make sure you call your mom. If you can't call your mom, call someone, tell them that you love them. And we'll just go back to here. So I got 3 or 4 minutes left. And again, the drama in the East versus West. This won't post for a couple of months, but it looks like the leaders of the East versus West are negotiating things. But what I saw come out, I didn't watch the whole thing because there's too much hearsay and rumors going on. But it appears we're changing the equipment again. These leagues, I've been in a bunch of leagues, they all eventually fail. Usually, the warning signs of when your league is spiraling out of control is when we start changing the rules, start changing the equipment, start doing things that tend to be driven by a very, very small set of pullers and not driven by, say, experts in putting together televised events or lot pay-per-view events or something like that. I would really like to see some changes to grow the sport and make it more palatable to the non-arm wrestler. Dinking around with lowering pin pads or making the elbow pads bigger or changing rules as far as particular moves, the royal, the king's moves and stuff like that. That's all sausage making behind the scenes stuff in the actual bouts. What never seems to be addressed is this guy, this Nugo is a good one. He shows up to the table, gets a grip, doesn't argue, doesn't fight, right? It's a 30-minute video and you see maybe 4 or 5 minutes of actual arm wrestling. I'm not sure that we're going to make a viewer experience out of two gentlemen up there arguing at the table or then getting their arms rubbed on the chair otherwise. I just seem to think that we need to get more action in the videos and in the events and not dinking around with individual rules and stuff. My experience was I don't follow a lot of other sports, but when I first started watching hockey, my best friend is a big hockey fan. There was this rule called, I think it's called icing, where like the puck can't go too far down the rink if there's nobody down there. And so I'm watching and they're calling this. I go, what is going on? And this my best friend who had to explain it to me, I'm going, oh, for crying out loud, man, how can you stand watching a sport like this that's got so many complicated rules that the average person just isn't going to grab, right? I don't want a lawyer having to give me a whole bunch of disclaimers when he explains the different rules and stuff. Arm wrestling's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. I don't, excuse me, I really don't think we're improving it a whole lot with our constant innovations and changes and stuff, which, like I said, seem to generate from a small subset of pullers. They're enacted without any comment period. They're usually enacted without any explanation, and then we're all just left to assume the actual worst, like, oh, these rules were changed because this particular puller is having a hard time beating that puller, and with the rule change, maybe it'll make it all better. Anyways, that gets me over the 8-minute mark. Thanks, children. Bye.